How's it going? How's it going? How's it going? Welcome to Change Your Lives, hosted by yours truly, Deonte Burton. Hope you guys having an awesome Thursday. We got an awesome show planned for you tonight. Tonight, we're going to be discussing, with the help of a very, very special guest, we'll be discussing gentrification in the black community. Hope we'll be giving out a lot of good information. Have a great conversation planned for you guys tonight. So, but as we always do every Thursday for the show, I want to introduce my guest, lovely Miss April Showers. April is a personality, social personality. She's also an entrepreneur. Sometimes you may have seen her on TMZ and other different social media shows or different things, spreading the word and everything. She's also one of my best friends in the world, and I think she's going to add a whole lot of insight to tonight's conversation. So welcome, April.
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure, my pleasure. She has made my day because I've been poking at her for a while to come on the show. So I guess finally the planets got in line, so I was able to get on the show and everything. So I appreciate her coming in and everything. Trying to get the Instagram together, get my cocoon head in the picture and everything. Also, let me say what's up to my super duper producer DJ Lab.
DJ Lab.
What's happening, brother?
I'm sorry. What's going on, y'all?
Not much.
Great.
Working everything like you normally work, the ones and twos. And also give a big shout out to my assistant, Jonah. Jonah's still recovering and everything. I spoke to her earlier today. She want me to tell everybody, hey, but she's doing okay and everything. So, again, we got a super show. We're talking about gentrification in the black community. Did a lot of promo on the show tonight. Thinking like we're going to share a lot of information. Me and April, we got a lot of different views, a lot of contrasting views, but I think we'll have a good conversation tonight. You know, as always, I try to rehash my previous week, remind everybody we won't have a show next week because I'll be in Phoenix at this tax mastermind class. You know, hopefully going to learn a lot. Over the past year, I've been going to a lot of different seminars and mastermind classes. I've been punching a hole in my pocket, but I learned a whole lot of information.
Well, you need to learn some more so you can get some money in our pocket.
Shit, I'm going to try to.
Some type of ways to get some money in our pockets off of those taxes.
Well, you know, when you go to them classes, they really don't talk about tax breaks. We talk about how to make more money as a preparer, how to get more offices and all that kind of stuff and everything. But, you know, I got that black magic. I'm going to make sure everybody good to go and everything. Also, last Thursday, I want to give a big shout out to Coach Tim Floyd. He gave me the opportunity last Thursday, and I think I spoke about it for the show. You know, I spoke with Jonesboro High School seniors at their senior day lunch. You know, pretty cool and stuff. Went to the game Friday. They played Griffin. That's all they did was play.
You was Easter Sunday show up too.
Oh yeah. I appreciate that. I appreciate it. They had my money bag and outfit on.
Gotcha.
But that was cool. That was a cool experience and stuff. Like I've been trying to really push the professional speaking. Remember, public speakers motivate, professional speakers get paid. And you know what I'm saying? so
Run that by me again.
you know, public speakers, they motivate. Professional speakers, that's who get paid.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I do my free stuff, you know, all the time. But, you know, Poochie got to get paid.
Okay.
What's going on? And again, this is what was the last thing? I was talking to one of my trainers today. I'm trying to, I've been trying to get I got off track a lot this past year, especially for me doing different things business-wise. But, your boy still been trying to stay on top of everything as far as the training and everything. I had a good heart-to-heart with one of my trainers this morning and everything. So your boy's still on the horse with that and everything. But I will promise you this, by the end of the year, I think I've been in shed about 15 and stuff like that. But I've been on a whole lot of duress trying to grow stuff for business-wise. But I'm super excited for the end of the year. Your boy going to get back on his saddle and everything. Again, this is Change Your Life, hosted by yours truly. Make sure you go to the YouTube channel, like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're also streaming live on Facebook and Instagram. Remember, on Facebook, we're on the Change Your Life Facebook page, not my personal page, so make sure you go there. But as always, you can put in Deonte Burton in YouTube, the Change Your Life show, and make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Look at all the videos, leave comment, any kind of feedback you can. And we've been growing tremendously, again, with all the love and support you guys have been giving us, so keep it going and everything. Again, we'll be talking about gentrification in the black community. And this is like a subject real near and dear to me because I see a lot of information that goes out about about gentrification, especially, me and April, both native Atlantis and stuff. We went to C.L. Harper High School, and what I look at, in terms of, I look at, a Bankhead, and I'll go back over my grandmama's house all the time. And what caught me was maybe a month or two ago, I was just driving down Bankhead, and you see all it's just different pockets of, you might start on Northside Drive. You can see the initial changes. Even go like on Hollywood Road, see some of the developments here and there, especially like Perry Boulevard and stuff. But you see it's coming, it's changing. It's coming to a head, especially probably the next, 5 years. But what caught my eye when I seen this young white lady jogging down Bankhead at noon with a sports bra on, like ain't nothing going on. Like ain't nothing going on. And what always was caught me then is that how, what I personally felt, we've kind of just like let an opportunity sink through our fingers. And you see some of the developments that are going on, like especially like on Marietta Street and everything. And what it personally affected me was when I got my property tax bill a couple months ago. And I've been paying, that little house over there at Bankhead, I've been paying property tax probably like $400 a year. And that done jumped to $1,500.
Wow.
And that's a direct response of some of the development that been going on.
Wow.
And I just wanted to touch base with everybody, because I see so many people that are talking about it. Even you seen like the Revolt Summit, and everybody's have so much input in regards to what's going on and everything with the community. And I just wanted to, get my intelligent sister up here that has a whole lot of insight about it and opinions and stuff like that.
How flattering.
I want to get her on the show because, April is one of the smartest people I know. And that say a lot, because I think I'm a very smart person. I'm very, very, I ain't say I'm short on, giving compliments to people, but she's Shaw's sister and everything. I love her to death.
I'm glad that we have this recorded so I can go back.
Yeah, Poochie said it.
Yeah.
But I know she has a lot of deep-rooted insight and opinions on that. And as we discussed, what we're talking about, gentrification, black community, I do want to get us a little slight disclaimer. This is opinions. Now, we're going to say some factual stuff, but it's just like a lot of times what goes on. And again, that's why you referenced like what was spoken in terms of like on the Revolt Summit with Killer Mike, and they had T.I. and they had Candace Owens on there. I think a lot of people were speaking opinions, and people really don't know the difference between an opinion and a fact.
Absolutely.
Because we know at the end of the day, opinion, how you feel, and the fact is just undisputed or indisputable. I'm sorry. And you can't change that. And I think too often people get their personal opinions about something, and they don't necessarily get facts, and because they're influential, people don't question it.
Absolutely.
People just believe it. And so that's why I wanted us to sit down and talk and have a conversation about it. So because as always with the show, what I try to do is, spark thinking, spark conversations. I don't necessarily want people to believe what I say because Deonte or Poochie said it. More so be like, okay, look, just go and do some research on your own and read on your own. Don't just be so stuck on what another person said. I seen what's the brother name? Benjamin Crump on the Breakfast Club the other morning, and he was saying that convicted felons couldn't get life insurance, and that is possible in some states, but with the vast majority you can still get it. But my whole point of it is, by him being such a smart, influential brother, that quick,
right?
That quick, and I just want us to get away from that, because unfortunately, especially in the black community, we do too much groupthink, and I do think there's a lot of power when you're a person of influence or celebrity. You have to be very, very conscious that people will follow you. And I call a lot of time blind influence. Just like with me coaching at the park, I know because Coach Burton say something, a lot of people just gonna believe it. And it's a lot of power in there. And I got to be very conscious about when I say certain things that people will follow me just because I said it. And I do think what we have right now going on, it's not to knock nobody, but it's just being honest. We have too many people in those kind of positions. They're saying what they feel and don't give that disclaimer like, this is my personal opinion. Because I'm very quick to reference that, look, this is how I feel. Now, if I know something for sure, like, okay, this is that, I'm going to say that. But if it's my personal opinion, I'm going to let that be known, because I understand that a lot of people would just listen to what Poochie say and not even, dispute it. So, and I think that a lot of folks we really need to get back to that point where we're starting to read and research things on our own, as opposed to just listen to what a certain person says. Just, again, spark that thinking and everything.
Absolutely. I kind of look at opinions. I say strong opinions, like strong possible. When you playing spades, you can still get set with a strong possible. You may not even make the book with a strong possible. So that's how I look at strong opinions. A lot of people have very strong opinions, and the vast majority take that as a fact and run with it as a fact. But I do want to say facts change, but truth always remain the same. So I just want to throw that out. But getting back to gentrification, I first would like to break down the definition.
Okay.
Now, here's the definition of gentrification. First of all, it's a noun. They have it listed as a noun.
APS graduate.
The process of renovating and improving a house or district so that it conforms to middle class taste.
I'm with it. I'm with that.
You see what I'm saying?
I'm with it.
That definition in itself is very loaded to me, because of the simple fact of it's certain keywords that stand out to me, so that it conforms to middle class taste. What is middle class taste?
Who defines middle class?
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. So
Who defines that?
absolutely,
Because my middle class taste, your middle class taste might be different.
absolutely.
One bedroom and one bathroom is a middle class to me.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that, before, I don't want to jump the show because we have like a platform, but that in itself, the definition of it, it's a problem with me. Just that definition alone.
Well, no, you a guest on the show. Explain why do you think that's a problem with you?
I feel as though it's a problem with me because I sense too many underlining tones to that, where it's going to be politically correct to say, the middle class taste, without exactly putting a true identity to who they are conforming to.
Mm-hmm. I got you. I'm gonna tell you personally, when I think about gentrification, I look at it as like a two distinct paradoxes with gentrification. One being that you get this influx of investments, be it construction, money, different kind of developments and everything coming in before, during, and after, to a community. You get this influx in it and everything. And then the second part of it is it causes some kind of displacements in the community. That can be through individuals, that can be businesses, that can be just certain cultures and everything. You can
Absolutely.
go from, historically black neighborhood, and it can be, now become a older traditionally white. Now, the thing of it is with those two distinct paradoxes, from the influx of everything coming in and also the displacement, what's fair? So you ask yourself that question in terms of, because what I hear so many people, especially like from my community, we grew up over there on the west side in Atlanta, that, you hear the white folks moving in, they came and did this, that, and that, and I got a whole different view. I personally feel like that nobody can't take from you what you protect. Now, do you have some stuff that go on and stuff like that are done unfairly? Yeah. But I just think for the most part, we use gentrification the term too often as a cop-out. And the reason why I say that is I'm just saying, I know in April, I'll let you give a little insight on this too, because April is very active in the community, especially we're going to a lot of the city councils and county commissions meetings and everything like that. A lot of times, I just remember, when I was looking to open up a personal care home about 15 years ago.
Yeah, I remember
and I
that.
had to go through that whole protocol, going to the NPU, which is the neighborhood planning unit, go to city council meetings, and go to even some of the county commissioner meetings, just to kind of make sure, because you just couldn't throw certain buildings up, because of zoning requirements and everything. And what always stuck with me was, because they had the NPU unit, they used to meet over there at the Job Corps in Westlake. Nobody being there. None of us. And same thing, with, and I'll let you may, if you want to expound on with the city council meetings and everything like that. My thing was, we never just there. And so we're so damn reactionary. So when we hear about, what is that, $400 million investment they put on that by Bankhead train station that's coming up, and all these other, the Bellwood Quarry and all this kind of stuff. These are things that if you went to the NPU units 10 to 15 years ago, you'll see the Hollowell Corridor redevelopment plan. You'll see the stuff that they had. This is stuff I seen personally years ago. And my thing was that we go back into gentrification. Yeah, the process is there, but again, it's just really I looked at it is that people. It's just a classic case of people moving in on your complacency.
Let me ask you a question. On those planning commission and zoning commissions and what you say,
NPU, neighborhood
NPU
planning unit.
units, I get what you're saying, but how much effort does those planning boards and NPU units put into letting people know within the neighborhood that this is going on?
Not
Because
much.
some of the people in the neighborhood are elderly. I mean, if you really wanted people to come, I know they put up little signs here and there that this is going on. You know, like when they're gonna put up for a zoning for a liquor store or something like that. They put up little signs. But if you're driving down the street at 45 miles an hour, you're not gonna see that sign. And who has time to come back and look at that sign and see when this is going on, what time, what date, and what all that? I think it's better. And this is just my own opinion. Like we say, these are opinions. If you're doing something like that for zoning and planning of the community, which is gonna change, raise taxes and things like that, you should either go door to door and put that stuff in, or mail it to the addresses within the community that you're trying to change, because that way people can say, "Well, I ain't know nothing about it." Well, we mailed it to you. We mailed it to, and you don't have to put. You don't see that's the thing. You don't have to put the name of the resident on there, because I get mail here all the time that says current resident.
Mm-hmm.
You can put that on there
Mm-hmm.
and put at the top say, planning unit, whatever you call it. I'm sorry, I keep forgetting, and let people. You need to read this because it pertains to your home, so there's ways that can be done. And don't get me wrong, I know that's going over and beyond, but at the same time, if you want to keep down the confusion and they didn't let us know they just taking our homes, you have to make sure that you go above and beyond to make sure that those people within that community knows what's going to happen.
See, here's the thing to that. 15 years ago is different from today and now. And the difference is 15 years ago, the vast majority of Atlanta citizens pretty much sat back and let the city council and the mayor make the decisions, and some of the black influential people in political powers make the decision, and we fell behind. Because originally, and I'll get into this later, that's how the transformation took place anyway for Atlanta and in Atlanta, when the white flight took off and it was all political. So 15 years ago, a lot of citizens said, okay, well, I'm just going to sit back because my district councilman or councilwoman is going to represent for this district. Versus today, we have more people taking the initiative to be present themselves, because a lot of people 15 years ago didn't really think that they could come to the meetings, that when they came to the meetings that their voices would be heard. So it was pretty much like why go?
Well, see, now I'm gonna disagree with you on that, because it's kind of to answer the last question. I'm just tell you how I feel about that. I don't think people gave a damn. And the reason why I say that is because, to your question, I'm answer your question. I'm circle back with April. The thing of it is, even you put a damn big ass flyer in for mailbox, people just wouldn't go. And at the end of the day,
They was waiting for the city council.
well, hold on. Well, let me say this. You go back in that era. This is this is a Shirley Franklin era. And what I'm sitting here saying with that is, traditionally, people just weren't gonna go. And to answer your point, actively, especially in the community, who is voting? The elderly people, because these are the same people that went through all that whole civil rights thing. So that they be at the NPU units. You see a couple older people there that have the capacity to get there. But for the most part, the people that are actually mobile and stuff, the youth and everything, they just not going. So now you didn't have Google and information when it was not as accessible as then. But again, people still weren't going. People, traditionally, we are very, especially for the past, let's say 30 years, we're reactionary. As far as what's going on and stuff like that, to be seeking out and everything. And what I just personally felt about those NPU units and stuff, people that want to take advantage of certain situations find a way to get information. If you have people, just say, if the same way you look at, just say those people from different races and everything, like they come into the community and they know to go to the NPU units, They did that. Why? Because they had an objective to goal to making that community. So again, if the people in that community have an objective to goal to making their own community, they will find out for themselves what to be doing to do something in that community.
But we can't override the fact of how Atlanta was built and how the communities in Atlanta was built. The communities and the different zones of Atlanta pretty much was built off of political powers taking the front runner and the citizens doing whatever the district councilman or councilwoman did. That's how Atlanta was actually structured and the foundation of Atlanta, which could be totally different from the out-of-towners that came here. They may have been used to in their city where the citizens, the neighborhoods, and the communities got involved, whereas in the citizens took the back seat in Atlanta to the people that was in politics, our mayor. We felt as though because of the fact that we have had black mayors and we have had a lot of black people in City Hall, that we felt as though they were our representatives and our voices, so we did not have the urgency or the need to want to express that 15 years ago.
Who fought that in?
We felt that they had our best interests at heart.
Absolutely.
Because they were part of the community, some of them.
And then we had to find out later. So now the shift has occurred where, no, those people were only doing that to meet deals and satisfy them and not the community. So we had to wake up and see that, because we have to, we cannot not fully understand where we are today and understand where we were 50, 60 years ago. You have to know that, okay, well, let me take a step back and let me see exactly how did Atlanta become the Black Mecca. How did Atlanta and the blacks reign supreme in Atlanta? And if you take a look at that, you'll see that it all started politically. The only portion of time, this is before the white flight. And when I say white flight, this is when it was middle-class white people in Bankhead. It was middle-class white people in the Mosley Park area. The only part of Atlanta that was considered black people is what they call nigger town, which was Pittsburgh, Mechanicsville area. Okay, so that's the only side of town that was pretty much designated for us. And then the upper echelon blacks had Sunset Avenue, Vine City, Dr. King and all of them. Okay, so in the beginning, Atlanta wasn't ours. We started to come in and we started to shift, which made the white flight leave the city because black people was coming in. And it all started because it was political. It was the political people that had the power. It was the Martin Luther Kings, the John Wesley Dobbs, the later down Maynard Jacksons, that we fell behind and let them lead. So that pretty much was basically the foundation in how we thought it should be.
Well, I get that part, because and that's a good point in terms of how everything was transitioning, because you look in terms of, just say, I think like right there, my grandfather bought that house in 60 over there on Commodore, and that's when I think it was still transitioning, but West Fulton was still kind of like white people moving out of the area.
Absolutely.
Because Harper was made in 64,
right?
And and I think West Fulton still had some remnants of blacks still going there and everything then before it transferred over. But to get to the point of, I don't think there's nothing wrong with us having faith in black leadership. Because I mean, you look at probably even the Dr. King and Maynard Jackson was when you do some of the readings and stuff, something he did, he was an awesome visionary. But when we start getting into later years and everything, I don't see nothing wrong with leadership. I think something wrong is when we, like to your point, put total unquestioned faith in people.
Mm-hmm.
And we cannot use that as an excuse, because too often when we say, well, we believed in this or we believed in that, we can say that we're just as smart as white folks and we're just as hard at work and we're just as competent in doing things. But when we say what we kind of didn't question, we didn't look at it, we kind of justify some of the BS that we hear about our thinking because we say we just believed them. Because I look back at, do you remember Shirley Franklin's campaign slogan when she first ran?
I can't.
You remember? I'll make you proud. You remember that? She just would get up
Okay.
there.
Yeah.
I'll make you proud.
Right.
Vote for me. I'll make you proud.
Right.
And I just remember that this very, very brilliant sister getting up there doing it. And you look at, what, she ran 2 terms?
Yes, she
Do 2
did.
terms. And they see, cousin done built all damn downtown Atlanta.
But you have to look at it like this,
Shit.
though. But see, this is another point that you have to look at. Okay, so Shirley Franklin worked under Maynard Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
Her and her husband at the time, they were a part of the era where Maynard Jackson ruled. So therefore, they knew the blueprint of what they had. Did they share the information where they could have, leaked, not even leaked, or put out information where other black people could become entrepreneurs, buy homes, and do all this? No, they didn't. But here go again. Our generation is different. The generation before us and the generation before that, they pretty much felt like, yay, Maynard Jackson, we can get houses. Now we can live on Payne Road. Payne Road off of Martin Luther King is one particular area where it's very vital in Atlanta history. And I say that to say, if you ride down Payne Road, it's a lot of ranch style homes over there. Very nice, very like brick, like a very, 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 very nice community.
Mm-hmm.
They put up a border, in that particular border where Payne Road go around the curve. They put a border to stop the blacks from moving in at this particular time.
Absolutely.
So when the shift in the Maynard Jackson wasn't mayor at this particular time. Ivan was mayor.
Ivan Allen.
He was mayor at that particular time. However, he wanted the black votes. So although in a sense he pretty much catered to the black people to get their votes, black people saw the change of them becoming homeowners, becoming business owners when Maynard Jackson got in. So therefore, when Maynard Jackson got in, it's like, okay, so, and I'm talking about generations before us, felt as though, I guess, coming of Jesus with Maynard Jackson. So that particular mindset, I guess it stayed with us until the shift came, until your generation came where you decided to go to the meetings. But prior to that, you have to understand, when you come from nothing and you started obtaining and getting stuff, and then clearly that you can see why this is happening, you give praise to that, and you assume, and you pretty much feel as though, okay, so now we're able to do this. Now we're able to buy these houses. Now we see black people doing this, and the black leaderships are the ones that was responsible for it. Then we took a step back and we chilled because we put our faith in the black leaderships because of what they did do, which was facts, which was elevation within our people within this city.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna give you a good example, and I'm sorry to cut you off.
You good?
I'm from Chicago,
Mm-hmm.
and in Chicago, in our neighborhoods and in our districts or whatever, we have aldermen. And well, the alderman for our district, he would have to actually live within your district. He would have to be a part of your community in order for him to even run as an alderman within your district.
Same here.
So what happens was, when I'm just speaking about my grandmother, because she owned a 3-story brownstone on the west side of Chicago. Couldn't read, couldn't write, but she owned it. What she was always telling me, well, he's from around here. He black, he from around here. He gonna do what's best for our neighborhood because he lives here.
Mm-hmm.
And and I think that's what happened, with the generation before. And then when we start coming around, we start saying, no, I don't trust him. But at
Absolutely.
the whole time, while my grandmother was thinking that he was from our neighborhood, I grew up with him.
Absolutely.
I know him. He's going to take care of
Absolutely.
us. He wasn't.
Absolutely.
He wasn't letting us know about the things that we needed to do in order to make sure that we kept our homes, or make sure telling the people, because my grandmother couldn't read and write, but I helped her. We all helped her. Making sure that she understood that you got to pay these taxes or you're going to lose this house.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Right.
They wasn't doing it. They were taking money for themselves and making sure
Right.
that they were good and their family was good, and all the time the people in the community, because they lived there, were saying to themselves, well, he lived here. I went to school with him.
Right. And you found out later.
Right.
Exactly. So that's, I think, pretty much of why we were so lax on it. And, not just, a thief come in and to steal and take, right when you're not looking, right when you're not paying attention, like a thief in the night. And that's how our city got stolen from us, because I get what you're saying. We should have been more proactive. We should have protected what belonged to us. I feel if your kind and our kind was in place a generation.
What's my kind? I'm a Martian or something.
No, not just that. I'm just saying, just like the mentality level. If I feel like it's more quote unquote influencers and black leaders that's not like known, but we are influencers and leaders. And now it is, if that was prior in the next generation, a lot of this probably wouldn't have occurred.
Well, let me say this now, because now I'm going to just get this point. I don't want us to get too far into what we don't really acknowledge the impact that crack cocaine had on our community.
Absolutely.
In the late 80s and all through the 90s. I mean,
Absolutely.
It was devastating to black communities all around the country, from in terms of how it affected our families. And we really don't talk about it much, because pretty much most of us that had somebody close to us in our families was on dope.
Absolutely.
Either your mama, daddy, uncle, cousin, brother. I mean, pretty much if you grew up in the neighborhood, you had somebody close.
Absolutely.
And it knocked out at least 2 generations in terms
Absolutely.
of our parents. Our parents were hooked on it, and we went to jail behind it.
Absolutely.
And the remnants of that. So you lost 2 generations of leadership. Now, to the point we talk about the actual then and now, I personally don't feel like we're too damn far away from the influence politicians have us. I think the same damn the influence that politicians had on us 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago is the same thing now.
No.
And I'm going to tell you why I feel that way. I feel we still don't damn question them. I don't feel like that. I think we still in a reactionary mode with that. I think the only thing that's different now, our generation is just information is more accessible to us. But as far as what we're doing, as far as ownership and stuff like that, I mean, look at the numbers. You probably had more black folks, owning stuff, and especially getting educated
when we
30, 40, 50 years ago.
When we weren't allowed to, we had more. We took better care of our neighborhoods back then. I just read a article said that there's less minority ownership now than before Jim Crow.
Exactly.
We own less home and less property now than we did before the Jim Crow era.
Wow.
Because of the fact, and then don't get me wrong, there's still redlining going on and those things of that nature where they're doing things to make sure that we can't get the house or get the home loans. When the housing crash happened in 2008, it was harder for people to get loans, but it was even harder for us to get loans. You get what I'm saying? They took all our houses, but then they don't want to loan us any money to get any new houses. But all that to be said is just that when we weren't allowed to have, we took better care of. That's what I always say.
Well, absolutely. I'm just a firm believer in, just like when we start looking at stuff, because what April's saying, I agree. But one thing about it, as far as the actual influence politicians have, I just still feel like that hasn't changed. The thing of it is that I feel like what we've got out of, because we lost, and I don't like using excuses, but it's just what I think is just the honest truth. With those 2 generations, it impacted us so much. That's 2 generations of leadership, knowledge, and everything. And like I said, we really don't talk about it, because we look back at it, it's such a shameful time and hurtful time because, like I said, we had our parents, aunties, uncles, big brothers, and sisters on dope. So folks don't really want to talk about it. And then a lot of our peers went to jail for selling dope. So you got people that are in a probably late 30s to maybe early 50s or mid 50s. They went to jail for dope. And then we got everybody from 55 and up, they were hooked on dope.
Right.
So like I said, we talking about a massive amount of leadership that will just impact it negatively.
Right, absolutely.
Okay, so once we fast forward to, like say we get to the early 2000s and stuff, you see the residual of all that stuff happening. Now again, we go into like we're in the information age when they closed down all the projects in Atlanta and everybody was just going out and everything like that.
You know why they did that?
Well, I let you tell them why they did that.
Okay, so first of all,
'cause I want to get my opinion. I want to know the facts.
Yeah, first of all, Atlanta was structured how it's no place in the world like Atlanta. Period. No place in the world ever like Atlanta. Like, for an example, you will never walk in a McDonald's or a bank and everybody that's employed there is black. You'll never find that in no other city but Atlanta. Mm-hmm. And Atlanta was structured so differently, and you can probably contest to that from being from Chicago. Okay, so we have zones and we have districts. And let's just say 285. Atlanta had a project, a prominent neighborhood, a project, prominent neighborhood, project, all around. So not only just on like the south side of Chicago, where no matter how far that stretch, that's ghetto. Atlanta wasn't like that. So it was a hood here, prominent neighborhood here, hood here. It was scattered all around. So when they looked at how Atlanta was structured, they started closing down the projects, and supposedly the blueprint was, okay, we were gonna just leave just the West End side to be quote unquote like the south side of Chicago, just strictly black, instead of having black people, prominent neighborhood black people. Like for instance, okay, you had Bowen Homes. King Grant was a black community. Collier Heights, they say that's old black money, but you had another project right there. Mm-hmm. Perry Homes, projects. Then you go on the other side where you had Mechanicsville, you had Pool Creek, so it was different projects all around the perimeter instead of just one particular side of town. Where, okay, so we know that the whole south side or the north side of this particular town is the hood. You could not say that with Atlanta because we had hoods scattered all around the perimeter.
Do you think that negatively affect the city by them getting rid of the projects?
Well, it's only to the decision makers that thought so.
No, your opinion.
I feel like it did personally because of the fact of the displacement and the culture of the city in general. Mm-hmm. And don't get me wrong, like, I'm as hood as they come, like, and I love the hood. And I feel as though during the times that you're talking about, during the crack cocaine era, it's too much going on too many sides of towns and too many zones and districts in Atlanta instead of just one particular confined area. So that's not a good look for Atlanta. Mm-hmm. But what you have to also understand, in the midst of that, it was also family. It was also brotherhood. It was also sense of community within those hoods. Not taking away of the fact that it also had tons and tons of violence, but to take away the identity of what Atlanta was, therefore it completely showed the gentrification process starting when the hoods got torn down. Because the same hood, the same side of town that you consider to be so bad and so rough and so raggedy, it's the same side of town that the people are coming into.
Okay. Now to that point, see, because I got a different view in terms of because it didn't just go in Atlanta. They had community redevelopment going nationwide, and pretty much all predominantly black neighborhoods around the country. That was just like a nationwide program that was started like maybe late 2009, probably after the market crash, and everything doing it.
And that's true.
So I don't think it was a bad thing. The reason why I say that is because again, we sit here and say some of those things were like eyesores or this, and it's not me talking about nobody. We just gonna be honest in terms of that. Now we say, okay, listen, well, let's kind of move these people around, and I don't want to say this in a negative sense. Let's give people opportunity to live in some middle class neighborhoods or stay in some newer apartments and stuff like that.
That was a trick.
Well, I got you. Well, no, ain't necessarily a trick. Here's the thing about it, cause
it's not a trick
I think
because
it's a
it
damn
happened.
treat. And the reason why I say that, check me out. Reason why I say that is because you get an opportunity to be in a situation that your ass wouldn't have been in anyway, right? So now, again, because now I give you this voucher, I give you this.
You would have been put in the situation to flourish or to remain content.
Well,
so why do you think that was doing? Was it
here's the deal. Let me finish that. I'm gonna let you go. Here's the deal with that. The problem that comes up is they put people in a situation, in quote unquote better situation, where again you can have an opportunity to flourish. Your kids get better schools. You got these vouchers to go there. They weren't taught. It was because again, when people grow in life, of course you might hit the cash tree, you might hit the lottery, you might get drafted or something like that, where it can just change your lifestyle overnight. But for the most part, we grow because we've had a gradual increase. That might be between you got a better job, you got you move to a different place, different situation. It calls you to learn how to do things. When you people like a different thing overnight, a lot of times if you haven't been taught, it's not about appreciating, it's just more so how to assimilate to it from a gradual standpoint. That's where the culture shock comes from. So again, because reason why I really am against, like I said, we started talking about the term gentrification like it's such a negative thing, to the point we kind of going back into, we're kind of diminishing the brain power we got. Because we can say all the time, man, these white folks think that we ain't smarter than we can't compete. But when we start saying that they took from us or we didn't know or we just trusted, it go back to the point like, hell, we can't think on our damn self. And I don't like getting in them kind of conversations because, again, we can sit here and argue and fuss and fight, and people say, well, I'm a product of my community, and I did this, that, and that. At the end of the day, anyone knows. You can sit here and grow up in certain things. You know what's right and wrong. And at the end of the day, I always felt like we were growing up was the easiest thing to do. Of course, you had some people had to do it to take care of their family, but for the most part, a cat sold dope because that was a whole lot easier to do to go working at McDonald's. Because you weren't making no money at McDonald's. You made more money selling dope, but at the end of the day, you still had a choice. And when you did that, the impact on that was so harsh. Now, people didn't necessarily know the severity of that decision. But when I start talking about us as far as thinking, we kind of take it out of our hands and say, like, well, we had to do this, we had to do that. And white folks bank on that, saying, okay, that's why they're not smart enough, they can't do this, they're going to do that. We cannot get into, I did this and we made these decisions because of that. Do we have the same opportunities or had the same opportunity they had? No. Were we in some of the same situations where we didn't have to deal with stuff like that? Absolutely not.
No.
But at the end of the day, you still got a brain to think, what's right and wrong. So if we start the race and you got a 5-meter head start.
I was just about to say
or,
that.
Hell,
that is crazy.
I got you a head start. Matter of fact, my arms handcuffed. I got one leg behind my back. But at the end of the day, I still got the opportunity to race. So at the end of the day,
you have an opportunity of when you're gonna cross that line, though. But would you ever catch up with me?
I ain't got to catch up with nobody.
But no, it's not a point. Okay, but listen. But you also got to understand. In a sense, you're telling us that we should have caught up. We should have, we should have
just ran.
Okay, I think we did, and some of us did ran and continue to run. That's why we have like the Tyler Perrys, and that's why we're not just like the Sammy Davis Jr. just tap dancing for y'all because that's what you thought we were going to entertain. We actually flipped the script of what they thought we couldn't be, and we have became. So, but
we should have 10 Tyler Perrys. We shouldn't have one Tyler. We should have 10 Tyler Perrys.
And we will. And we will.
I'm
and that's the
right now. We supposed to have 10 Tyler. And I mean, I'm sorry about cutting you off. Right now, we should have 10 Tyler Perrys. We shouldn't be. I'm proud of that brother. I'm glad he did. But right now, we should have 10 Tyler Perrys. He should not be the exception. He should be one of many. That's why I'm getting at with that. We got to get out of this shit where we keep talking about, what we couldn't do because this and that happened. We just got to do it. And again, if they got more or whatever, we ain't in competition with them. We in competition with ourselves. Let me gonna do this. I don't care if he got more money than me. I'm gonna make my money. My competition is not him. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry about cutting you off.
I think the point is that you're just trying to say we shouldn't always want to get the quick, easy way out. We need to work a little bit harder towards where our goals are. Like when you saying selling drugs, we didn't have to sell drugs. We could have went to work at McDonald's and worked 2 jobs or whatever to get. It might not be the same money and as fast as, but we took that easy route out instead of going the hard route and maybe it being 10 Tyler Perry's instead of 9 of them being locked up for selling drugs. You get what I'm saying? So I think the problem that we have is that, and this is today. I see it all the time on social media. I see it all the time talking to folks. We want that quick money so bad. We want to look rich.
Because we have did without.
Yeah, we have done without, but our grandmothers and our mothers done with a lot more out, and they still were able to make ends meet and gains and do whatever they need to do for us as a family. Because even though we lived in the hood, I lived in the hood. I was broke, but I didn't know I was broke.
Right, absolutely.
Because I still ate. I still,
right.
You know what I'm saying? I still had clothes on my, it may not have been the most expensive clothes, but I still had clothes on my back. I still went to school. I still played with my friends. So at that point, it was like, it was just something I didn't know. Even though we had it harder and we struggled a little bit more in order to get things that we had. My grandfather and them struggled a lot to get what they had, but they didn't take the easy route to get it.
But when we
worked hard for it.
When we realized that our grandparents struggled, that's the part that we try to escape. Oh, I'm finna break my back to do all this. I see my grandfather, my grandmother break their backs to take us this far, and look how far we got.
But is that a negative or is that positive image of a black man, black woman
it
working to
depends
take care
on
of their
how
family?
It depends on how you view that far we got.
Okay, if it's coming from down here to that far, I'll take it because it doesn't matter how much the gain is. It's a gain. A gain is a gain.
Absolutely.
A level up is a level up, and I know a lot of people gonna say, "Well, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do whatever I gotta do to get that level up." That's what every action there's a reaction. With every circumstance, that's a consequence.
Absolutely.
So we gotta. That's what I'm thinking that we gotta get out of the mindset of getting around it and getting it
well,
quickly.
It's a little too late because the shift has occurred. Exactly. The people are here now. They're not going, and like you said, they are running with their jogging gear on. So right, and it's so sad to me because, like I said, it's no place in the world like Atlanta, and I feel as though the history of Atlanta is fading away. And I want, just as fast as the history of Atlanta is fading away, I wish the history of America would fade away. However, it's not. And if I felt like we could have fixed up our neighborhoods, but because sparingly they fixed up our neighborhoods, we didn't appreciate it. If it was a constant, we would have.
I don't know about that. I
do.
I'm gonna tell you, I think our neighborhood's a direct product of this no snitching bullshit. You sit there and know a dude selling dope right there in your next door to you, and your neighborhood getting ran down. You got everybody breaking into everybody's house, but you don't want to snitch, and your neighborhood go down and everything there. Again, and now your value ain't there. We want businesses to come to the black community, but then when they set the businesses up and somebody breaking the damn store and they steal all the stuff out, and the folks can't find justification, why I'm going to keep opening? Hold on now. Why I'm going to let you open this business in this damn community? Why I'm going to stay open here, hire people from the community, and these folks keep breaking in my store instead of us policing? I say, look, don't break in that man's store no more. This is how we getting hired. And we sit there and we know.
We did have that, though.
Well,
that was.
Well, that shit.
Yeah, we don't. Because I want to say some of the dope, I don't want to cut you off, and I don't want to promote selling drugs. No, that's not. But I do want to say a lot of the dope boys from my times and my hoods are the reason why a lot of people remained in their homes, are the reason why a lot of stuff did not actually occur violently because of the dope boys. Like they kept why it was a lot of Christmases, why it was a lot going on.
I agree with that, but that Robin Hood shit on our way to the bad they did. I ain't finna sit here and say that some guys didn't help or didn't buy it, because at the end of the day, it's the same thing we talking.
No,
I got you.
So I get
I'm
it.
gonna say that because see, here's the deal. This is the same thing we start talking about them politicians. Politicians come to the black community. You know, when they come to the white community, they're gonna have a town hall meeting, give all kind of insight, the pros and cons, what their platform is doing it. They come to the black community, you know what they do? Give out turkeys and hams. It's the same thing with the dope boys. They can give out some bikes and turkeys and stuff like that. Everybody cool. He good. He bought the football team uniforms and everything. But the community is getting damaged so bad. And because we don't, and when we sit here and look at the bad, it does not outweigh the damn good. It's more so a pacifier for that. And at the end of the day, as long as I can keep you crippled and doing and immobile, you're not gonna have a problem with what I do. And that's why I say a lot of times we've been our worst enemy. And again, we don't want to sit here and do that. Like what I say, policing ourselves. There's no snitching shit. You sit there, you know this person here doing this particular stuff. Instead of you saying, look here, brother, we can't do it, because again, we can sit here and say, well, the white folks selling dope, black folks selling dope. We go out to John Creek and Alpharetta. You can have a guy run $1 million meth operation, and you wouldn't know. But let me go on the west side. These jokers out there sitting all damn day long, beer cans out there in the yard, sitting up on the porch and all that. You know they ain't doing nothing but selling dope. Brother, if you're going to do something like that, be discreet, handle it in a certain way. So now we go back into the intellect standpoint. Are you going to be that damn stupid if you're going to do that? But that's the thing about it. So we got to get out of it and just, number one, take some kind of damn accountability for ourselves. We had this. Let's stop. Because, again, it's just like I tell my kids, my football teams. Until we say we made a mistake or I messed up, we can't fix it. Because at the end of it, because that's the thing about it, we have not got to that accountability stop. Had they set up some stuff where they put drugs in the community and all that kind of stuff? Absolutely not. But what? We got to make a decision if I want to deal with it or not. If somebody going to sit here and do stuff to damage you or your community, you still got to make a conscious decision not if you want to deal with it or not. And that's where, even if you make that mistake, until what's happened is happened. But until we address damn how it came, who planned it, and all that kind of stuff, we know that. We know that it's foul, it's wrong. But we start talking about a recovery of doing it. Until we address, I messed up, I made a bad decision, we can't fix it because we're going to keep dwelling on it. And when we dwell, we stay stagnant. But once you admit it, that's when you start moving forward. Because at the end of the day, April, at the end of the day, we still ain't looking at trying to recover. It's cool, you know, we had these little hee-haw sessions where I see people like, well, black folks need to do this, black folks do that, and everybody, yeah, brother, yeah, sister, but they still ain't doing nothing.
Right, and I get that. And one of my good friends, my brother, I consider him Tooks, we go back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Hours on hours, because he don't believe in gentrification. But I challenge you, and I challenge your viewers to, if you have time, I know you busy, you trying to catch up, you know, you already gave us that disclaimer how you going to try to, you know, the end of the year to get to.
I ain't never
but if you,
people.
if you, it's not even, no, this is for you.
Mm-hmm.
I will want you to read Where Peachtree Meets Sweet Auburn.
Mm-hmm.
If you read that book, your whole thought process on gentrification will change, because it changed mine. Not only did it enlighten me, it made me actually feel as though when I self-proclaimed myself as the ATL homegirl, I felt like I was, and I could most definitely stand on that platform because of that book. So my passion, and the reason why I'm passionate about it and discouraged about it and upset about the transformation that's taking place in our city is because of the information and the knowledge that book shed light on. And we give so much props and so much kudos to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., but I also feel like we should do the same thing for John Wesley Dobbs. And in that book, you would most definitely see the appreciation of how we got to the point of where we are today. And in fact, it's about to be wiped away. And it's sad. It's really sad.
Well, you know, I don't think there's any kind of denial that we've had some awesome and blacks in our history, especially in the city of Atlanta, that very rich history. We can stand on some of the shows. You talking about J.W. Dobbs and Alonzo Herndon and Dr. King and stuff like that. And you start thinking about just with Citizens Trust. I forgot the brother name that I know
Absolutely.
Herndon started and everything. Just think about some of the business. Even with I had a chance to have lunch with oh my God, H.J. Russell before he died, and he was telling me how he grew up with Dr. King. I was in the entrepreneurial organization because he is named after Herman Russell, and when they named it after him, it was like 8 of us that started the entrepreneur organization at Georgia State. This is what I was in, getting my bachelor's. And we had lunch with him. It was like I said, 8 of us, and we all got a chance to talk with him and everything. He was just telling me how he grew up with Dr. King, how he started his business with his pickup truck, and he was a direct benefactor of when Maynard Jackson came to office, just getting some of them city contracts that weren't given to blacks and everything. And it was very insightful to that. And he was and I asked him, and it was uncomfortable because, again, this was an entrepreneur organization at Georgia State, and it was just on one other black person in there. But I had to know because I wouldn't have had another opportunity to talk to this powerful black man. I asked him, so what do you think is the reason why the black community, we're going in kind of like this regression in terms of our ownership? And this is back in, I'm sorry, maybe 01, 02, something like that, maybe earlier than that. And he paused for a second, like he was just talking about as far as the leadership, lack of vision, and things like that. And I bring this up to say that, again, no matter what it is, even like we look at the pillars that from our history that we can look back at, we have to see how that kind of accountability what we're gonna go forward. Again, you have to take charge of yourself to say that I'm gonna move forward. I'm gonna do these certain things, and I'm gonna build my own legacy in future. Until people do that, we can sit here and kind of acknowledge all what's going on and what the white man done did and what we ain't got and all this, until we take some kind of accountability and be comfortable to say, look, I ain't got no money now, but I got a vision on where I want to be. Mm-hmm. And if I got to sit here and grind for 5 or 10 years, it's fine. Because like I said, again, it's kind of like when you look at, we talked about it, I think, on the previous shows, when you go buy some furniture from IKEA. If you sit there and say, look, I ain't down them instructions, I see the picture and I try to put it together, and you put it together like this, don't look nothing like that damn table and everything, because we skip the instructions. Because reading instructions and going by that takes time. We just want to hurry up and do it. And I think that's what far too happen. And that's why really everybody ain't successful, because everybody is not willing to make that commitment, grind, and sacrifice in order to be successful. Until we sit here and start doing more of that in the black community, we won't have it. Because again, I'm not trying to get in. I ain't even never get no conversation about what ain't fair, what been took from us. We ain't been hoodwinked, we ain't been did wrong. I never sit here and say that's not the case. But I will say at the end of the day, I got 2 choices. I can sit here and stay complacent and complain and bitch about it, or I can just go and look, this is the route I got to go, and I got to move forward. And far too often, people don't want to do that. People do not want to grind and do that. They want to grind to a certain point, and then when they get like, man, it's too much. It's going to take me months. It's going to take me a year. Yeah, it might take some years, and quit. And once
that mindset is about to be obsolete. I believe in the shift. I believe in more leadership is about to grow. I definitely believe in more roses is about to grow out of concrete. And I really do feel like the next generation coming up, they are going to be so much stronger mentally, so much stronger driven wise, where exactly what you said that they should be, they are driven to build legacies. And like in a shift, it's just like it will occur.
I'm not as optimistic as you.
I'm very optimistic. I feel as though in another part of why,
because I ain't seen it.
But see, but I have.
I don't think it's this next one. I think it's the one after.
I can agree with that.
I think it's the 8 and 9 year olds
I kind of agree
now that's gonna take it, because you gotta think about it. You gotta think about it. You get a 2-year-old and give them a phone, they know exactly what to do with it. And so they're gonna be their mind is gonna work quicker because of the fact that they get information so fast now that their mind is gonna work quicker. You're not gonna be able to tell them what you want them to know. You're gonna have to tell them what needs to be known.
They already trying to do businesses. They already thinking like, so absolutely.
I agree with that point, but I just think now to that point, I agree with you that as far as the kids being more assertive with the advantages and the opportunity with technology, I don't think they had the same sense of community as far as being black or African Americans.
No, the community part of it, I think that's going to take a longer to get. I think the community part of it is gone because of the fact that
Absolutely.
the fact that our generation and the generation after us did not instill that community part in them. Now, don't get me wrong. When we were young, little 9, 10, 11 years old, we had community because we had people in our neighborhood be like, I'm going to whoop your ass if you do such and such. Because and when your mama get home, I'm going to tell her. But that was a sense of community. You know that you couldn't go on the porch and cuss at the lady next door, your neighbor next door, hear you cuss because you still going to get in trouble if your mama is out there or not.
Gotcha.
That part of the community was gone, like you said once. You know,
That crack cocaine.
the crack cocaine, the community is gone then.
Absolutely.
So what the next generation after is going to have to start building their own community and start building things. And the community that we thinking of as black community is not going to be the same.
Absolutely.
Because it's going to be multi-generational.
Absolutely.
It's going to be multi-interracial. It's
Absolutely.
not going to be just black and white. It's going to
Absolutely.
be black, mulatto, a lot of other things is going to be mixed within there that they're not going to consider it just a black community. It's not going to work that way.
Well, here's the problem with that
Absolutely.
thought process is because we can sit here and think we're going to have all this damn mixed cream and all that stuff. White folks still going to look at that white community.
And that's going to be
Hispanics
That's
gonna
gonna be
still-
absolute too.
Hold on now.
That's gonna be absolute.
Well, here's the thing.
Absolute too.
And Hispanics going to still be looking like this is a Hispanic. We all trying to mix up with everything because here's the thing about it. Even just right now, we have a lot of high income making blacks.
Right.
We don't have that many wealthy blacks that actually own stuff. And so I'm just looking at the trend is, and now is that I think we're always going to have an ascension of blacks that's making good wages and doing stuff. But are we going to have a lot of blacks that's owning stuff like that? I'm not as optimistic.
I think we are, and I feel as though even the racist mindset is sooner than later will diminish.
You think
Would it
so?
absolutely be gone? No, let me tell you why I say that.
You
Because
mean white
if you
racists
look,
or just racist?
the white racist mindset, because of, for one, some people in my generation, the generation after me, the 8 and 9 year old generation, they pretty much want to adapt our culture and get away from their culture. The old granddaddies and the old people, they're gonna be done died off. They're gonna be done died off. That's why we have a lot of people. That's why we have a lot of these kids, doing our dances, doing our lingo, wanting to be our friends, wanting to interact with us. If it wasn't for their parents or their grandparents, then which soon they would die off.
I think it's more if they want to do that in order to make profit from it. I don't ever think that the racist attitude is going to go away. It may be subsided.
I said
a little
diminish
bit.
a
I don't
little.
think I think that the reason why they want to be a part of our culture now because they see our culture making money. It doesn't have anything to do with what I may be wrong. I may be 50-50. I don't believe it has anything to do with as far as just wanting to be with us. I think they want to figure out what they can get from us in order to make money off us.
Well, I don't even look at it from that perspective. What I look at it is from you go back into the 20s and 30s with the Cotton Club and stuff. It's cool, but they only gonna go so far until it's like a detriment. Like, okay, just say we ain't trying to make no money. I like listening to rap music, just like they like listening to jab and bebop and all that stuff back in the day. But at the end of the day, shit, when it comes to other stuff, like I'm still white. But the thing I'm looking at is, even if that diminishes, we're gonna get leapfrogged by these Hispanics. So that's the thing about it. So now we done got boom, just like that, because we got to get out all this damn black and brown stuff and get back to the interests of blacks. Because here's the deal. Again, like I said, again, I think they like listening to the music. I like them to dancing and being cool up until something detrimental comes up and like, no, I'm still white. It's just like that. And that's the thing about it. That white card going to come out. Just like I said, again, we start talking about 15, 20 years from now, we're going to get, do I think it's diminishing?
I just believe in this. I don't know. I don't know if this is an unrealistic shift that I'm believing in.
A good example. I had a white friend stay next door to me in Chicago. We were the best of friends. This is just an example. Best of friends. Well, I went over his house one day in the wintertime. Chicago, it gets cold. It gets snow. It's like, and his dog wasn't supposed to be let out the door, but I didn't know. So I opened the door. I let his dog out. Dog running, disappeared. Now he got to go find the dog. First thing he get mad at me and say, why you let the dog out, you fucking nigger?
Yeah.
But we best friends.
Absolutely.
You get what I'm saying?
I mean, I know.
So it's an example of I didn't think that would ever come out of his mouth. I didn't think he would ever jump ship like that.
Right.
But he jumped
Right.
all the way over to the
Right.
ship.
Right. Right.
I had to whoop his ass, but he
Right.
jumped all the way over to the
Right.
ship. You get what I'm saying? So
Absolutely.
we can never be complacent to think that they won't do.
Oh, it's not for us to think that we always
We
got to
always gotta
stand. We always, that won't change
Mm-hmm.
on our outlook on what possibly could come from them. That's not going to change. I'm speaking on the change that's going to happen the opposite way from them. We're still going to look at and say, well, he still may feel as though he has this superior mindset, or he may look at me as being a nigger or blah, blah, blah. But I do feel as though, and that's the reason why I feel as though the buffoon that we have as the leader of this country is pushing so hard, because he see that racist part, that racist mentality was going, it was trickling away. So he decided to rebirth it.
No, he didn't rebirth it. He just made it
Visual.
He didn't rebirth it. He just made it acceptable to be so.
Yeah.
Well, absolutely. And I
Yeah.
believe that, because on my way driving through here, I was like, I'll never live in Douglasville. Because they let you know right out front, I'm a Trump, I'm a Pence supporter, blah, 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 blah,
Yeah,
blah.
that's everywhere.
And then, it is everywhere, but some people also mask it. I appreciate the person to let me know straight up, that literally let me know where he stand, versus the ones that don't.
But
So I'm not saying that.
The surprising part, them Trumps and Pence supporters are out there. All in this community is black. We are all black over here.
Yeah, I know, but
Yeah.
see, I came off of Bankhead. I came down that way, so when I was riding through and I was seeing a lot of, right, exactly, right, absolutely. And see, my mom is from Minnesota, so, and it was a black family, and my grandmother is from the South, and she migrated up north, so she brought along her roots and her values, and so she was a target, pretty much, because of, she knew that she wasn't going to tolerate what she had seen in the South up there. So when I just Google my grandmother's name, how they always tried to do little certain stuff, taking her kids, doing all of this, because of how vocal she was and how she was quick to tell you, you can kiss off and blah blah blah. So my mom, pretty much, when she when she came to the South, she had a clear idea of how to deal with white people. How to deal with black people. You see what I'm saying?
I got you. But see, the other thing with that is, to the point we even speaking on, this is what we can't get twisted. We can't get it confused that because we're being progressive, we're in enough positions of power and authority to make a lot of change. Because at the end of the day, for every one black millionaire, you got probably 30, 40 white millionaires. And again, it's probably going to maybe get surpassed with Hispanics soon. And the thing, what I'm saying with that is that we can't get our progression confused, that we're still never going to be in positions of authority to make certain changes. And that's the thing about it. We're actually progressing. We're making more money, but we're so far behind. And it's not necessarily the point of, I don't want to say that we need to be caught up to having, well, we got as much money as the white folks. We just need to be in a position where we got enough money to make changes and make things for ourselves. We can't just try to be the richest of the black folks. We can sit here and compete with anybody to do things, but we don't want to sit here and take that. It's like to be that uncomfortable where we can do certain things. We just try to have just enough. You go to, go around certain people where folks just like to make, on the big fish in this room, instead of trying to make sure everybody help big fishes. You know what I'm saying? And I think until we constantly push for all of us to be in some kind of leadership or authority position as a community, that's what's not going to happen. Because again,
it ain't no more communities.
Well, here's at the end of the day, no matter how successful your ass get, I don't give a damn if you move to Buckhead, you move to Alpharetta, John Creek, they're going to remind you that you black. So it don't matter. It don't matter. You can assimilate, join, this, that, it don't matter. You're going to get some kind of reminder or whatever. Sometimes it don't come up, but more like it's gonna come back to you. So that's why I just want people to understand, from my viewpoint, keep what you got. Stop arguing and fussing about. And I know we winding down, get ready to wind down with everything. I just want people to actually make a conscious effort to keep what you have. And I think far too often, for the simple fact we're having this conversation, we ain't said one damn time somebody came and just snatched. We're saying different things that we never really got into or had a conversation on how we can keep. Because at the end of the day, we can sit here and say we want to get different leadership in. We want to get different programs in. We had all these spirited debates about reparations. Understand, once you get that money, once you get that land, that's it. You can't go back no more and say that.
Exactly.
So I just want people to kind of be really, because exactly, and that's really what we try to do with this show. Not necessarily to impose our views or opinions, but we want to spur what? Thinking, spur conversations and stuff like that. Try to find facts, not necessarily be stuck on opinions. Of course, you got people that's influential that you believe in. You think they're great people. But it's not the wrong account. Well, let me Google that and just see. What he may have said this wrong, may have said whatever. Understand the difference between a fact and an opinion. Because like we said, that opinion is just how they feel. That fact is irrefutable.
Mm-hmm.
They can't deny it. But I just really feel in my heart that, no matter what you do, you got to focus on what you're trying to do and what you're trying to do to your community. Because when you get lost, when you're trying to sit here and say, well, the white folks got this and I just got, that's what they got. They had us in bondage for 400 years, and you look at the progress that we've made over that time and where we at as far as we've had a black president, regardless how you feel about what he did or didn't do, you can look at the progression we've made.
That's such a misconception.
Well, I just want people to understand that we can accomplish so much if we focus on us accomplishing as in comparison to everybody else, instead of just being reactionary to everything. So again, I just, first I want to say thank you to my guest, Miss April Showers. It was awesome show. I hope you guys enjoyed the insight and the information you gave and everything. I want to say big appreciation to my man DJ Lab and everything. But what I want people to do is, going forward, make a conscious effort to start gathering information yourself. Because I'm pretty sure all of us said things that people got different opinions on and everything. Because again, this is how we feel. Some stuff is how we feel. Some stuff is we can't deny it. But regardless, take this opportunity moving forward to start getting your own information together.
Absolutely. So
you can improve yourself. Because at the end of the day, the city done changed. And what's happening in Atlanta, same thing happened in Chicago, L.A., Houston. Hell, y'all see what the hell that happened in New Orleans and everything, So at the end of the day,
I want to cry.
Well, it's not over with, it's changed. Because just like they moved out, we can move back in. So again, we stop. I don't think we need to focus on what we don't have. Focus on what we have and what the hell we can do. So again,
and don't feel like you incompetent. I feel like far too many of black men in particular feel as though that they are incompetent, and they feel as though, okay, so I am the man in what I'm doing, and they try to stay there because if they venture outside of their norm, they're not going to be perceived as the man. I want black men to understand is, get out of your comfort zone. It's okay to start from the bottom, because that's where you started from initially, where you at now, and you consider yourself being the man in whatever area that may be. I don't care if you feel as though you the best little league coach or whatever you're doing. I just have so many black young friends that don't want to learn new things because of the fact that they feel that they are incompetent, because they are known to be looked at as, I supposed to know, I already have it. They don't want to gather and get more information.
Now, is that a brother thing or a black person thing?
I feel as though it's more of a brother thing. I feel as though it's more of a brother thing, because women will take chances after chances after chances after chances. Black men would black men will stay content with being the king of their square instead of increasing that and going somewhere else.
I'll say this. I think that and I love the growth sisters have made, especially in the past 10 years. I think women move a lot more, especially our sisters, out of necessity than anything. And again, I don't want when I say necessity, because what happens a lot of times, sisters have they have the kids, they have a lot of stuff falling on them, so they have to be more aggressive with doing certain things where you have a lot. Sometimes they have a lot more they have to deal with that. But what I will say this too, I don't necessarily know if that's a black man thing. More so I just think black people in general. I think a lot of times, you see it on both sides in terms of, and I'm not trying to deny it, but I will say that I just think a lot of times we just as a community aren't taking the initiative. I think we are we're very comfortable with being, like I said again, the big fish in the room with our peers instead of stepping out of the norm. I think, you have the sisters do the black women empowerment stuff, which is awesome. You have the brothers do the black man empowerment stuff, but they don't try to get here and say just men empowered. Now, cool, I'm great with us working together. But again, I just don't think that's something that us as a community, period, we try to step out and just say, look, we can compete with the white folks. We can compete with the Hispanic folks. We can compete on a global scale. I just think that's just more of a cultural thing. We really don't do that at all. I just think you do have a lot of sisters right now, especially in this day and age. They're taking a lot of initiative, doing a lot of great things. But I'm a little pro brother. I'm pro sister, but I'm pro brother. I just think that some of the stuff that we just got to get from a cultural standpoint. But April's right, and I ain't gonna never bash or say anything like that. We got a lot of stuff that we need to talk about behind closed doors, and try to get a game plan together and start doing, because that's why certain conversations I don't like to have in public. Absolutely. And everything like that. And a lot of people don't want to have them conversations with me because I'm gonna be honest with you and hurt your feelings and everything. So please take this show as a challenge or some kind of initiative to move forward, empower yourself, empower other people, and grow from it. Because again, no matter how you feel about gentrification, if it is or isn't there, understand that there has been a change and things have been given and taken away, depending what side of the street you on. And what it is, if you're in an opportunity where you feel like something got taken from you, learn from it and go get your stuff back. If you feel like you're in a situation where you gain acquired, go enlighten somebody else. They may listen to you, they may not listen to you, but it's on you. I feel like if you're in a position where if you made some kind of progression in life, to share with other brothers and sisters to make sure that they've got it. Again, if they're going to listen, you don't know, but at least attempt to do it. So, as always, listen, guys, I want to thank my guests again. I know we had an awesome show. Make sure, like I said, I'm not going to be here next week because I'm being in Phoenix and everything. Probably do a couple live feeds early in the week, maybe 2 or 3 during the week if possible. But I want you guys really, really think about what we talked about tonight. And regardless how you feel about it, try to take that initiative and empower yourself going forward. Absolutely. So you don't be in a reactionary mode in regards to the different changes and stuff for the world that goes around you. This is Deonte Burton. This is our show, Changing Lives. Make sure you go to the YouTube channel, like, share, subscribe to it. The channel's still growing. Changing Lives, hosted by yours truly, Deonte Burton. Go to the Facebook page, Changing Lives. Like the page, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Look at all the videos. We're well over 100 videos. Leave comments, leave feedbacks. Make sure when you subscribe to the YouTube channel, you hit that bell to get future notifications about the show. Love you guys. See you in a couple weeks. Take care.